Billionaire Elon Musk says he plans to spend less time on his government work after Tesla's profits fell 71% last quarter. And a new poll finds that Republicans are more likely to believe misinformation about the measles. Good morning. I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. The body of Pope Francis is now lying in state in St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican. Members of the public are now allowed to pay respects. NPR's Lauren Freya reports from Rome the Pontiff's funeral is set for Saturday.
A choir sang and cardinals chanted in Latin as Pope Francis's body was carried in a red velvet-lined open casket into St. Peter's Basilica, flanked by Swiss guards and priests carrying long candles. Public viewing lasts through Friday evening. Then on Saturday, hundreds of thousands are expected to attend the Pope's open-air funeral in St. Peter's Square. President Trump, Ukrainian President Zelensky, and Britain's Prince William are among those who've confirmed their attendance. The Cardinals' conclave, where a new pope will be chosen through secret ballot inside the Sistine Chapel, is not expected for another 2 weeks. Lauren Freya, NPR News, Rome.
Billionaire Elon Musk says he will limit his time with the White House's cost-cutting DOGE effort starting next month. NPR's Bobby Allen reports the move comes after EV company Tesla, where Musk is the CEO, posted worse than expected numbers for the latest quarter.
On a Tesla earnings call, Musk said establishing DOGE within the federal government is mostly done and that he expects to soon work just a day or two per week on White House matters. Musk, the executive of Tesla, has been operating as a special government employee, allowing him to work for 130 days in government. But his future in the White House beyond that has always been unclear. President Trump has supported the efforts of Musk, but his hard-charging approach, defying norms and procedures, has frustrated others in the administration. Still, Musk said he plans to be involved in government in some fashion for as long as Trump allows. Musk's announcement came as Tesla reported that its quarterly profits have dropped 71%. Bobby Allen, NPR News.
NPR has learned that the National Institutes of Health is going to close down the longest study of women's health in the U.S. The Women's Health Initiative has tracked health findings since the early 1990s. It's made important findings about cardiovascular disease, cancer, and osteoporotic fractures in women. The Food and Drug Administration inspectors who examined factories around the world have been spared from federal layoffs this month. But NPR's Sydney Lupkin reports that federal workers who support these inspectors have been let go.
FDA staffers responsible for handling travel arrangements for FDA inspectors are gone. They were cut as part of Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s plan to eliminate thousands of workers from federal health agencies. Current and former FDA inspectors tell NPR that will slow down inspections and make the U.S. food and drug supply less safe. Chris Middendorf spent most of his 20 years at the FDA doing inspections.
What you don't want to see are basically operators touching their face, messing around with their mask, touching things with their hands they shouldn't be. But the only way you can see them is by standing outside the production window and watching for hours.
HHS told NPR it's monitoring the situation and working to make sure inspections continue. Sydney Lupkin, NPR News.
A federal judge in Maryland has castigated the Trump administration for disregarding her orders. She's demanded to know exactly what the Trump administration has done to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. The migrant was illegally deported from Maryland to El Salvador. The judge has told the Justice Department to get her that information by 6 o'clock tonight. A group of Democratic House lawmakers tried to see Abrego Garcia in El Salvador this week, but were denied. Arizona Congresswoman Yasamin Ansari says other migrants were also deported to the country.
For the first time, the U.S. Embassy has asked about the hundreds of Venezuelan migrants who were illegally sent to this prison as a result of our advocacy. So we know that we need to keep pushing.
Another federal judge has ordered the Justice Department to provide evidence by today that it did not disobey him when he ordered the administration to turn around deportation flights. New Jersey officials say that a wildfire in the southern part of that state has burned at least 8,500 acres. Some 3,000 people have been forced to flee. NPR's Giles Snyder reports the wildfire is 10% contained.
The fire is burning in southern New Jersey's Greenwood Forest Wildlife Management Area in Lacey and Ocean Townships in Ocean County. No injuries have been reported, but the State Forest Fire Service says the fire forces shutdown of a portion of one of New Jersey's busiest highways, the Garden State Parkway, and that flames are threatening more than 1,300 structures. As a precaution, officials say the utility, Jersey Central Power and Light, cut electricity to more than 20,000 customers. The move coming at the request of state fire officials to safeguard crews battling the flames. The cause of the fire is under investigation. It's the region's second major forest fire in less than a week. Giles Snyder, NPR News.
The measles outbreak continues to grow in Texas. There are at least 624 cases there. Nearly all of them are among people who were not vaccinated. 2 Texas children have died. There's a new poll out showing how much misinformation people are seeing about the measles. The poll comes from KFF, a nonprofit health policy research organization. NPR's Maria Godoy has more.
Pollsters asked about 3 false claims: that the measles vaccine is more dangerous than the disease, that the vaccine causes autism, and that vitamin A can prevent a measles infection. None of these things are true. But a significant proportion of adults polled thought they might be true. Liz Hamill of KFF says there was a clear political divide.
We see that Republicans are much more likely than Democrats to lean towards believing this misinformation about measles, and that's true among parents as well.
Among parents who said that at least one of these false claims was probably or definitely true, 1 in 4 said they'd either skipped or delayed some recommended vaccines for their kids. Maria Godoy, NPR News.
The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences says next year's Oscars ceremony will take place on March 15th. NPR's Mandalit Del Barco reports the organization now has a few new rules.
To be eligible to vote on the finalists at next year's Oscars, Academy members will be required to watch every film in the nominating categories. Until now, they've only been encouraged to do so. The Academy will monitor which films voters see on its online screening platform or ask them to specify if they've watched them elsewhere. According to the new rules, the Academy will also take into account how much generative artificial intelligence and other digital tools were used to make films that are competing. Filmmakers with refugee or asylum status will be eligible to compete in the international feature film category, and for the first time, casting directors will get their own Academy Awards. Mandalit Del Barco, NPR News, Los Angeles.
Today is the 20th anniversary of the debut of YouTube. The first YouTube video to be posted online was from co-founder Jawad Karim. He visited the San Diego Zoo, where he admired the length of the elephants' trunks.
All right, so here we are in front of the elephants. The cool thing about these guys is that they have really, really, really long trunks, and that's cool. And that's pretty much all there is to say.
YouTube is now available nearly worldwide. It has some 3 billion users. I'm Corva Coleman, NPR News from Washington.